Josh has a lot of like, I mean, I don't want to say miracle moments, but like angel inspirations, maybe we'll call them.
Yeah,
So
that's a
like
good way to put
there's
it.
yeah, there's a lot of different times where you get, like you get clipped or a ping or something.
Yeah.
So in the last episode, you talked about that you would want to bring some of them up. So have you recalled any, and do you have any that you would like to share?
Yeah, so here's a couple things. One is just to give you an idea for people that aren't aware of how this even works, because a lot of people don't even know. You hear spiritual awakening, you think of Jesus or you think of
Right.
some holy roller or whatever. That's not what it is.
Hmm.
Now it could be. I mean, it's your own path, whatever you want it to be, but that's mainly not the majority of it. What happens is you start to things start when this is going to sound weird, but it's really when you start to notice that there is a life force or a consciousness that's in all of us. We all are connected in some way. And when you start to tap into that, you're self-reflective, you forgive people, you are empathetic, you like literally you're the best version of yourself, you're self-forgiving, you're self-loving, you do all these things. You start to tap into something that is brilliant. And it's something that I can't explain really. You have to get into it yourself. But what happens is I kind of call it like your treasure map of life, because whatever you can picture in your mind, you can manifest that. And the way it works is you need to connect to that emotion and you need to connect to that energy feeling ahead of time. And almost, well, not almost, you need to feel like it's here now. If you want to have $10 million, you can do that. You just need to sit there, feel it, visualize it, and things will start to come to you as you go through it. But what really happens is you start to see angel numbers like 111 on the clock right when you're thinking of something. You just randomly look at the clock, it's there, or 222. Or for me, a lot of times my mom's name will show up in a license plate right when I'm doing right what I'm supposed to do. And what I kind of consider it is your treasure map of life, or your treasure map of finding the best version of yourself that you want to be, or whatever you want to manifest. So what'll happen to me a lot of times is, weird part about it, with a lot of the eclipse stuff coming, and it gets really deep. So I don't want to go too far into it to throw people off, because it's, unless you're that far into it, you won't get it. But what happens is you get these inclinations or these downloads. You're almost like a computer system where you start to get this static that runs through your mind, and things will pop up in your life where it shows you that you think you control anything, and you don't control anything. It's literally like you are, what it is you are the universe experiencing itself. So when you awaken, you're experiencing that in a way of going with what you call the flow of life. And when you go with the flow, you start to see these things. And I'll just give like one first example is, I'm at the end of my lease in my apartment. This is the weird part that like it happened right afterward. So one, I told you about my dreams and how they're starting to connect to the next dreams.
Hmm.
And the other night, well, so it's February something, and I'm like nervous. I'm like, I'm supposed to move to Florida. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to meditate. I'm trying to figure all these things out. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna give my 30 days notice up. I got a random call from a number in Florida that I've never been to, that is in the same town that my girlfriend lives in. Then I'm like, that seemed weird and odd. Then I start seeing all these references to Florida everywhere. And after I got the call, I get another call from 111 1111, which is a sign to show you, like, hey, we're saying you need to move to Florida. This is your thing. Now, me, not too much into these signs yet, not knowing exactly what's going on, because you're not supposed to. You follow this guidance. And so I'm thinking, all right, that's my sign. Get out of your apartment, move to Florida. And when you move there, you'll figure it out. I was gonna do an Airbnb for a while, whatever. As I do that, 2 days before I'm about to move, my grandma trips on some concrete, breaks her arm, hurts herself. And I moved in here at the end of the month to help her out. Been here for a while, but it just shows that's one thing that literally lined up exactly when I was moving out, exactly what happened to her. Like, if it would have even been 2 days later, I would have been in Florida, and there's no way I would
Already
have
gone.
helped her. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. Another one is the people that you start to meet. So you vibrate in a certain frequency. It's called your core frequency, who you really are, and who you don't. I don't have to show anyone anything. I don't prove to anyone anything anymore. I don't care what anyone thinks. I just know who I am. And It's a thing that it's very hard to do because most people will say they know who they are, or they don't do things to show other people that I'm successful or I'm here or I'm this or I make this money or but and they don't vibrate as them their true self. Because if you sit down and you look at it, most people are actors. That's what we are when we're out there. And when you start to get away from that and you become yourself, um, people will vibrate to you, situations, places. And another example is so I'm going through this and I'm moving my grounds. I'm like, I don't know what path to take, blah, blah, blah. Literally, as I push this random post up, I get this other person I've never met across the country in California who is literally going through the same thing. Her name's Aliza. We just had a meeting today about having a Facebook Live thing to teach people more about this kind of stuff. And she was someone that I would have never met. I would have never known. I randomly put this up on a whim because I was actually in like a weird mode where I didn't know anything. I was so lost. I put it up. Nobody responds except this one woman who's going through the same thing. And now we're going through that.